back. What's good with y'all motherfuckers? Boy Reg in the building. Got my homeboy Trial with me.
What up?
Got my homeboy Mike with me as well.
It's good.
So pretty much we kind of did our thoughts on the first three episodes
Yeah.
of this show, Bel-Air. So now you know how we always do. Gotta talk about the season. So much to talk about this whole fucking season. I know this kind of dramatic retelling of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air pretty much got a lot of people split. A lot of people say that they like it, but then there's people say that, oh my god, Culture's a drug addict. Oh my god.
Wow.
People are mad about the whole Uncle. We're going to talk about all that shit. We're going to talk about all that. Personally, I'm going to get your thoughts on that personally. So we can start right now.
On what the whole show?
I mean, just the good things, bad things. You know, yeah.
I mean, I didn't. As far as the bad, I didn't think there was any bad to take away from it. I thought it was. I liked the way that they reimagined the show and they made Hillary. They didn't make Hillary an airhead like the original one, and the same with Jazz with Jazz. They were more smarter in this. They were more woke,
Yeah.
and Hillary was more independent. She was doing her social media content, and she left the house. She was she didn't really want to depend on Uncle Phil and Viv for for money and anything. She wanted to do like make her own way, and that's something we didn't see really in the OG one with Hillary's character. And she developed a friendship relationship with Jazz, and I think if anything, I think Ashley was left out of this season one.
I
I mean,
agree.
with the exception of like she likes girls, and she had a thing for her friend, but we didn't really see a lot of Ashley. And Ashley was like like the main, like she and Will had that connection in the OG show, and they didn't have that in this, at least for season one. It was more Will and Hillary that had that connection. And then Will was butting heads with Carlton, and Carlton, doing all type of stuff to undermine him, and him staying at the house with Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv. And Carlton was jealous because he saw how Will had that bond with Uncle Phil that he wished that he had with his own father, and he didn't have that. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And Uncle Phil went above and beyond to get Will out of jail, and safely, and with them, and he broke the law, and he was running for Senate or something, or governor.
Yeah. I think DA.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and for DA, and he broke the law just to get Will out there, and get him out of jail. And Carlton didn't understand that, and he was jealous the whole season of Will. And then when it came to Lisa broke up with Carlton. She had a thing for Will. They developed a friendship and a relationship. Carlton didn't like that, and he's telling Will, "Well, I forbid you to talk to Lisa. Don't even look at her." And it's like they had to like sneak around basically away from Carlton to even like just to see each other. And I didn't like that. Like you know, I'm not gonna sneak around from anybody because you have a problem with me liking so and so. Or, you know what I'm saying? I just thought I was Carlton was just like overdoing it. And then we found out he had a drug problem, which we still don't know if his parents know about it. I thought at one point that they did, because Uncle Phil is on everything. I thought he would at least had Jeffrey find out what's going on with Carlton. And I don't think we still know if they know that he has a drug problem. And Will knew about this, and he could have easily snitched on him, and he kept it to himself. Even when Carlton was doing all this stuff to him, and hiding drugs in his bag, and he got caught for it. When his friends was didn't want him on a basketball team for Bel-Air High, and he all this stuff that Carlton was doing to him, and Will could snitched on him about the drugs, and he didn't do that at all. And I think Carlton realized that later on in the season, that you had my back even when I was doing you dirty, and he realized that he gotta squash this beef and this jealousy with Will, to get along in the house, and I like that he finally came around, and we found out that Uncle Phil dropped out of the race with DA because they had dirt on him, and he felt like it was time to step back and take care of his family. Aunt Viv wanted to reignite her passion for painting, and he wanted to support Aunt Viv in her dreams, and because she always supported him in his, and supporting Hillary and her and what she was doing, and Ashley and the whole family. So um I thought it was a great season. I thought it was definitely, you had your highs and lows. Will he found out about his dad. He wanted to see his dad. Finally meets his dad, which I feel like, I don't think, to me, I would have picked Marlon Wayans to be his dad, but I
Yeah.
think Marlon Wayans did a good job. And he finally sees his dad, and then we had that whole drama with his dad meeting Will at the house, and it's a lot of stuff that went on. But I thought, all in all, it was a good season, and I'm like so against reboots, especially for like shows that I grew up watching. But I feel like the way that they reimagined the show was a different take, and I like it. It was more with drama than comedy, but it like the way that they pulled it off was good. Like, I like the way that they updated it with the music, and the social media stuff, and I liked how they did it. The casting was good too as well. I like the fact that they gave a nod to the old Aunt Viv, the Daphne Reed, when she was on like one of the episodes, and the OG, the woman that played Will's mom in the OG show, she came back, and I liked how they did it. Like, everything was official.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that part.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Mike give his thoughts on this one.
All right. So my thoughts on the whole season. I feel like the first four episodes, I think, were probably the best episodes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Like um, the first episode, like it felt, now rewatching it, like
Right.
it felt like if I was watching like a feature length film to
Right.
me. Like it was kind of like really realistic. And then hold on, give me 1 second.
You can So what?
Sorry, I had to plug my laptop.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it felt like really realistic. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
to where like Will, he was in Philly, he was on the basketball team, and then next thing you know, like um, he was like scrapping with some dude, and then
Hmm.
like he had to pull the gun out, just because his friend was getting beat up and
Right.
stuff like that. Like to me, I felt like it was like really realistic.
Hmm.
And then like even the soundtrack was, I think the soundtrack was pretty dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You had some throwbacks along with some new stuff,
Hmm.
but like the whole Carlton like Will feud, like I felt like that was pretty good, but Carlton, to me, I still think he's a snake.
Yeah.
And the actor who played him, he's growing to me a little bit more. To me, I think he still sounds like an automated telephone system, but
Oh shit.
Hmm.
at times he did, but when it comes to dramatic stuff,
Yeah.
like especially when he popped the Zanny, and when he like got pissed because the family didn't see his lacrosse, I think that
Hmm.
was a good performance.
Yeah.
Jabari Banks, I think he's not only charismatic, I think
Hmm.
he's like almost the spitting image of Will
Yeah.
Smith. It's
I
almost
agree.
like if he could be his son in real life.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it's just he's perfectly casted. You know what I mean? And Hillary, like I feel like I've gotten to know her a little bit more.
Right.
Like I like the way like she was more smarter and like more career driven, and she's more independent this time.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Jazz, I think he's underplayed, underused. He's like the comic relief.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
um, Philip, Philip, I still, I feel like he's a little, just a tap. Not nothing in the caliber of James Avery,
Right.
nothing in that caliber. But
Yeah.
True.
he's he's growing to me a little bit more. But I think he's still a little bit too stiff. Like the one episode I liked him in was he was doing like I think he was at that what do you call it, his old college or whatever.
Oh,
I'm a
the
call.
yeah, that
Yeah, I'm a
Yeah,
call.
like
mhm,
I think it was episode 3 if I'm not mistaken. And then he was doing that whole like dance number, you know, from
mhm,
his old college days.
right.
I liked that part, and I would like to see more of him. I feel like he needs to loosen up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And Vivian, Aunt Viv,
Mhm,
I thought she was good. Now the
right.
one thing that was really predictable, and I saw it coming, is when Michael Ealey came, and I knew, I knew because he played the same character in a couple other movies.
He does that. Yeah, in all his movies,
Yeah,
he
Yeah,
play
all the
like this.
time.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and it's like okay, you're trying to quote unquote like you're trying to be nice, you're trying to like say, oh well, I feel like you have a talent in painting and stuff like that, but what you're really doing is you're trying to get with her, like
Right.
even though you know that she's married and stuff.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm gonna say this now, and I'm gonna call it season 2. If season 2 happens, he's gonna go further and he's gonna try and make his move.
I thought he was gonna do that earlier in the season. I thought like
Yep.
especially when he was at the party, like they had like a party at the house and he's looking at one of her Vivian's portraits
Mm.
and he's trying to move it and Uncle Phil is like, no, don't move it, I'll move it. Just leave it there. You know what I'm saying? Go drink or something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I was saying earlier in the season that because Phil didn't support Viv's artwork, that she was getting all this support from the other guy, and her girlfriends was telling her, yo, that he wants you, whatever. I thought she was gonna step out of her marriage and kiss him or sleep with him, but it didn't happen.
And I'm
Right.
glad it didn't happen.
Right.
I
Because
felt
I feel
like go
okay.
ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say my thought. You can go.
I felt like the like the later the season got, it to
Mhm.
me at times it felt like CW ish. Like
Yes.
it kind of felt like I was watching like a CW teen show all over again. You know what I
Riverdale.
mean? Like it kind
Yeah.
of felt like that. And then the Ashley, I felt like she was underused.
Yeah.
I didn't like the one thing I didn't like about is I didn't like how they said that she was like the way they did it. I didn't like the fact that she came out. I didn't like the way they did that. They should have went more in depth,
But how old is Ashley supposed to be in the show? Is she like 13, 14?
something like that.
I was like, isn't she like kind of young to just start exploring her sexuality and how do you
Right,
know that you're a lesbian at 13, 14 years old?
right,
You
yeah,
know?
and that's the one thing I didn't really like. I didn't really like the it was the way they did it.
Right.
I felt like they should have got more in depth. I
Yeah.
feel like she should have told her mother and stuff like that. It's like, hey,
Hmm.
this is what's happening, blah 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 blah.
Right.
Um, like, when she tried to tell that one girl that okay, I might have I have a crush on you, then she
Mm-hmm.
says, well, I feel Will is cute. I'm like, okay, y'all could have did something better.
Right.
That was just a little bit that writing should have been better.
Yeah.
And her character, I feel like needs to be explored way more because you know
Yeah.
everybody else. You know Carlton with the Xannies, and
Mm-hmm.
you know he has anxiety, depression, and stuff like that. You know Will, he's like he's charismatic, but then at the same time he has that issue with his dad. And
Mm-hmm.
Viv, she wanted to be a painter, but she decided to put her family first. And then you
Right.
have Hillary, who is so career driven.
Mm-hmm.
And then even Jeffrey, like, he's, I guess he's a bodyguard, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Enforcer.
You have that, and then Philip,
Mm-hmm.
of course, he's doing his thing. Like all these characters, but
Mm-hmm.
you don't really know Ashley, and that's one thing they missed out on. I
Yeah.
feel
I agree.
so. I mean, and another thing was okay. The last episode to me, I think is probably one of my favorites,
Mm-hmm.
and Marlon Wayans when he was in that was unexpected
Yeah.
because I saw it on Facebook and stuff like that. Is where they posted a picture of
Mm-hmm.
Marlon Wayans. I'm like, he looked almost unrecognizable,
Yeah.
and I felt like Marlon Wayans. I think it was the tour de force performance.
Yeah.
I feel like he was. It was just Marlon Wayans like you've never seen him before.
Right.
I feel that. I mean, that's just an opinion. My honest opinion of
I
it.
just I just felt like like when I saw him, I saw Marlon Wayans. I didn't see Will's dad because it's just I'm like, you could be playing Will's like homeboy or something. I like if they had casted Courtney B. Vance as Will's dad, I'd be like, that's a good choice.
Yeah,
Okay, because Courtney B. Vance is a great actor, and he and
like,
he 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 looks like somebody's dad. I didn't look at Marlon like he's Will's dad. I'm like, out of all everybody else you could have casted,
right.
you know,
Yeah, at least his uncle or something.
yeah. And even with Lisa, I thought when she found out that about Will, the real reason why Will is in Belly, I'm like, she overreacted. I'm like, he didn't kill nobody. He was saving his friend from getting killed by the drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? And this like she overreacted. Oh, we should break up. I don't want to talk to you. I'm like, she was overreacting. I'm like, come on.
I like Lisa up until that point. That point when
Yeah,
she overreacted. I'm like, are you
right.
freaking kidding me? I was like,
Yeah,
well,
I'm like, you act like a dude, like, and she's like, oh, we slept together. I'm like, but you've been fiending for Will for like since you met him. It's not like he lied to you about, like he had a baby or something. Like he was a good
right,
reason why he didn't tell you why he was out there, to
No,
right.
they have
protect
to give
Uncle Phil.
that. They have to
Huh?
give that. Oh, you lied to me plot and shit like
Right. I just thought like she overreacted.
And that's what goes back to what I was saying about it got to CW. It just got to CW. It
Yeah.
got to like teen. It was teenage drama ish.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It did at times. I did feel like that.
Yeah, man. Overall, you know me. I had my doubts about this show for the longest and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So I decided to give the first episode a shot because Peacock. I got the Peacock for free
Right.
and stuff like that. And honestly, I was hooked from the first episode.
Hmm.
Character wise, I felt like Hillary on Vivian and Will flourished this year.
Yeah.
Uncle Phil, it Adrian, he's a good actor. Don't get me wrong,
Hmm.
but the writing for Uncle Phil, I think people expect like James Avery because this is like a more calmer Uncle Phil.
Right.
He's not
Nah,
yelling.
I think he's more he's I don't want to say it's Uncle Phil with a bad temper because the James had a bad temper too, but like this Uncle Phil, he won't hesitate to kick your butt.
You said
You
what?
know what I'm saying? Like this version of Uncle Phil, he won't hesitate to kick nobody's ass.
Exactly.
And that's something that when with the OG Uncle Phil, like he was more he would be ready to kick Will and Carlton's ass compared to anybody else in the OG one. This one, he almost had a fight with Jeffrey.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the fight. I was waiting to see that fight. I'm like, I want to see the fight with Uncle Phil and Jeffrey, or the fight with. I felt like Uncle Phil was going to fight Will at some point. Like they just was going to disagree on something, and they would have came to blows, and that's the fight I was waiting for. We didn't get that. Instead, he got rid of Jeffrey or whatever. I still feel like Jeffrey gonna come back though.
He is.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is not James Avery Uncle Phil. Like James Avery made us laugh. This Uncle Phil's more serious. You know?
Right. Yeah, man. If I had to pick one gripe, it would probably be the whole Carlton, Lisa, Will triangle.
Yeah.
Because when we watched the original Fresh Prince, Carlton and Lisa, they weren't really dating. They didn't really have
Right.
no romantic love for one another. I mean, yeah, Carlton had a crush on her, don't get me wrong, but
Mm,
it was like anything serious and shit like that, you know what I'm saying?
right.
Now it's just like I had mixed feelings with them with that angle that they were trying to put on and
Yeah.
stuff like that because it was just like the force, like Mike mentioned, the force CW s kind of ordeal and shit like that too. Because
Mm.
like that's some love triangle shit you would have seen on like Riverdale,
Riverdale. Yeah.
even the new 90210, the Beverly Hills
Right.
90210 reboot,
Right.
which I don't recommend watching. But but yeah, but it's just like everything was so good up until that point. And don't get me wrong, the actors and actresses were all doing good,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it was just like, how much more? It's like, did y'all really have to go in that direction
Right.
or whatnot? It's like one of those kind of things, you know what I'm saying?
Do you think we'll see Jackie character come
See,
into like season 2?
I hope so. Personally, I hope so. Because if
Right.
they do bring Jackie, then they'll probably honestly it'll probably be an interesting dynamic.
Right.
But at the same, and that's another thing too, because in the older version of the show, it's like Will was pretty much like a slacker and stuff
Mm.
like that. Now with the reboot, it's like he's more like a college age student. He's more like all
Nah, but
around.
I thought like in the latter seasons he was more focused on school compared to like when he first got there.
He was, yeah,
Yeah.
he was. It's just some shit I noticed.
Yeah.
The actor playing Will, Jabari Banks or whatever, that's his name, Jabari
Yeah.
Banks.
Yeah.
Very good. It's like some scenes he really embodied Will in some
Yeah.
scenes.
He did.
I feel
Uh,
like he's an actor to watch.
Yeah.
yes.
I've seen him before in other things. I can't like put my name on the stuff I've seen him on.
Yeah, man. Homeboy is a good actor.
Mhm.
If I had to pick one favorite episode, probably the episode where Will's mom came to visit.
Yeah. And
And oh, go ahead.
even with her, the she got annoying. Like the bickering with her and Aunt Viv became annoying, and they're doing it at his birthday party. I'm like,
Yeah,
get her go, put her on another plane to Philly. Like she was really annoying, and you still holding up all these like hurt feelings from like 20 something years ago and all that.
yeah. The birthday scene, I'm just like,
Yeah,
you knew it was going to happen because you can kind of see the jealousy
right.
towards. I don't want to say jealousy, but just how close he was to his aunt. And that's something in the old show, in the original version, that
They didn't do that.
they didn't really do that to me.
Right.
Cause I've seen a lot of people question, and it's like they love the reboot so much. They question, were we really supposed to laugh at certain things at the original Fresh Prince? And I'm
Mhm.
just looking at myself like,
And
come on.
even with and in the original one, Aunt Viv had more than one sister. She only
Yeah,
got this sister in this one.
and that's one of the things that's kind of irritating me because it's like with Aunt Bib's sister, like Vi, Helen,
Mm,
what's the dark skinned one, the one
I
that married the
forgot.
white guy, Janice, yeah.
Janice, right?
it's like that dynamic. It really, I usually love it when Uncle Phil and Aunt Vivian have their roots, especially those earlier seasons,
Right,
stuff like that too. You know,
right,
and I thought they were going to have at least two other sisters, but I guess they're just going to stick to Vi and Vivian,
right. And
which
where's Uncle Phil's parents? Because his parents was on the show in the OG one.
that is true
Like his
too.
mom would come to visit. She came to visit for like Thanksgiving and different episodes, and she used to make the famous sweet potato pie for Will. Where's his parents at?
Well, I know, yeah, that's a good question. Sure, I guess we'll see more of that towards the later of the run and shit like that. Who knows?
Yeah.
The actor playing Carlton though,
Mm.
I'm not even gonna lie. This, he's doing his thing. He's doing his
He
thing.
still has to grow on me. Like I, I don't. I know it's more of a drama, but he has to grow on me still. I feel like he made me hate him. He made me hate his character with the stuff he was doing to Will and trying to sabotage Lisa and Will's friendship. I didn't like his character at all. You know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
never seen the guy the guy that's playing him. I never seen him in anything. I'm like, I don't know. I gotta. I do like the fact that he came to his senses at the end and realized that Will wasn't trying to hurt him or anything, and you know what I'm saying, and it was just all in his head that he had this whole jealousy factor
Culture.
because Will got along better with his dad, and but other than that, I gotta warm up to his that version of Carlton because Carlton in the original was hilarious, and this dude is not hilarious at all. You know,
Yeah, man. I mean, there's not really like a lot of funny shit when it came to this
right,
one.
right.
I just didn't want it to force the drama. That's my issue because whenever they have these like reboots, they always want to like force the drama and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Every-
Facts.
The one thing that's kind of pissed me off, and that they're talking about it, so to speak, on social media, is the fact that Will cries in almost every episode.
I did hear a lot of people talk about that.
Now here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the show. He's 16.
Right.
Okay. Now he has gone through so much trauma
Mm-hmm.
in a short amount of time,
Right.
from get into that fight to the cops roughing him up
Mm-hmm.
to like being flown out to Bel-Air,
Right.
and then to finding out that what's his name was in the hospital because he got
Mm-hmm.
shot,
Ice
and
Tray.
then yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and to being more trying to adapt from Philly to
Mm-hmm.
Bel-Air,
Yep.
and then now we're talking about his dad coming
Right.
back in the picture. That is too much for a 16
Oh
year
yeah.
old. And it's like,
Fact.
well, how would you feel if you would put yourself in that position? How would you feel
Exactly.
if you have to go through all that? And then plus your dad, who hasn't been there for the longest time,
Mm-hmm.
okay, it all of a sudden wants to come back, and then two blames his mom, who's been his mom since day one.
Right.
How would you feel?
Exactly.
You wouldn't take it too well. And then
Exactly.
another thing is that the cursing. They said the curse, oh, he didn't have to curse. Oh, okay. It's like, okay, well,
Oh,
look
come
at the
on.
type of
Are you
look at what type of generation we live in. I was like, okay,
exactly?
okay. But the difference between 1990 and 2022, okay, back then, yeah, you had to respect your folks. Yeah, granted. Okay, 2022, at the same time, at this point, your aunt and your uncle lied
Mm-hmm.
or hid the secret,
Right.
okay, about your father. And then to boot, your father is back trying to get back in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
That's too much. At this point, if I was in his position, there, of course, I'd be cussing up a storm because one, people people who I thought loved me lied to
Yeah.
me, and
Mm-hmm.
then my dad comes back in the picture. At this point, I would be cussing up a storm too. at this point because it's so much emotion, and that emotion between Lou and Will, I think to me was really realistic.
It was.
Now, could I honestly say that it's better than the first one? Not really. I can't really say that. I don't think
Mhm.
Marlon Wayans. I don't think. I think it's up there with Ben Vereen's performance and
Right.
like the OG.
Mhm.
But however, can I honestly say that it's better than no? Because I'm
Right.
not gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest. Both of them get me emotional. I'll be the
Yeah.
first one to admit
And
it.
he and Will cried in that in the original one with Ben Vereen. He cried in that episode.
And
Exactly.
You know what James Avery said to him
Mhm.
while he was hugging him. James Avery said that was acting.
Yeah.
He whispered it to him.
Hmm.
Yeah, I could believe it.
Yeah.
It was it. Will Smith, he gave such a gut wrenching, heartbreaking performance in that. Jabari
Yeah.
Banks, I thought gave a gut wrenching, heartbreaking performance too.
Facts.
But is it? Honestly, I'm gonna have to go with the. I'm still gonna have to go with the OG.
Right.
But if you, it's up there probably like greatest performance in television of all time. One
Yeah.
of them. One of them.
Yeah.
I can't get mad about that. Yeah, man. And I want to go back to this whole Ashley thing
Uh-huh.
because I was recently rewatching the original version too
Mhm.
of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I'm not even gonna hold you. I've always felt like with the Ashley storyline, a lot of them got regulated to like very special episode esque
Mhm.
kind of ordeal and stuff like that. I'm not. If that makes sense, you know. Because
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, she had a comedic storyline, but
Mhm.
most of her storylines kind of fall under the what are we gonna do with Ashley? Getting her premarital sex, all that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't know if it was just me.
When she got older, like yeah, when she got older, they gave her more mature episodes.
Yeah,
You know, she's the whole being a virgin and losing her virginity episode, and when she wanted to become a singer. You know what I'm saying? But like
I
in the
hated that
first,
episode.
you didn't like that one.
I mean, I like the first part of that singing. The second part, I did not like the second part.
Like I liked her when she was like little Ashley and she had like she couldn't stand Christmas and Will like bought took her to buy ornaments and
Yes.
to dress the tree up and I like those episodes when he first got there and it was like pure hilarity. Then when she got older they hit it with more older mature content. But I don't are they gonna do the same thing with this Ashley now because she is young and like they're already tackling her like liking women.
Shit, who knows, man? Because with every show these days, they always gotta have an LGBTQ
Right.
slant or some shit like that. Which I don't mind that, but it's just like you can tell when it's forced and you can tell when it's not forced.
Right.
Facts.
And
There's
even like
another.
the East, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Like the Easter eggs alone
Mhm.
for what the show was doing. I even love the Easter eggs, like the whole
Yeah.
ice tray reference and stuff like that.
Right.
The tribute to James Avery when the New on Viv was doing the painting and stuff like that. I mean, there's certain Easter eggs that keeps the original fans
Yeah.
the attention grab. I like that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to add too is that,
Mm.
well, with the whole Ashley thing, in the first season, um, Will and Ashley, they were at one point close.
Right.
And
Right.
then now with this new one, who is Ashley close with? Like I feel
Right.
like she's just on her own basically. And it's
Yeah.
like she's not given enough attention. And whereas the OG one, she was
Right.
really close with Will because she
Hmm.
connected with Will not only like on a spiritual level, but like on an emotional level too. It's like
Right,
Will was the person that she can go to,
right,
but
facts,
in this one, like who can she go to? Like
right,
I feel bad for Ashley in this one.
yeah. She's like it's like everybody else is off doing their own thing and nobody pays attention to Ashley. Like she went, then she go to like one of the friends' houses to play video games and they didn't know where she was,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then you have to get Jeffrey had to find her.
yeah.
So it's like that would have never happened in the OG show,
facts.
you know.
Hell no. It's like they're more lenient with Ashley.
Right,
That rich syndrome, that rich people
right.
syndrome.
And she's so young. It's like they're more lenient with her than compared to everybody else. You know, we have Aunt Viv is like trying to like. I feel like Aunt Viv is like trying to steer Hillary away from being a content creator. She's like, oh well, you could do so much more than just this, and you know, with Will, they're trying to just make sure that Will just stay out of trouble, and you know he does well in school, and with Carlton is like, you know, his dad would want him to play basketball, but Carlton is more into lacrosse, and there's the disconnect, and they can't really, you know what I'm saying? It's like they're more involved with them with the older kids than with Hillary. I mean with Ashley, and I'm like that would have never happened in the OG show.
Right.
You know, Uncle Phil and Viv was always on top of Ashley, whatever she was doing, whether it was school or singing or boys, whatever. She was like the main one of the main vocal points for that show.
And even Jeffrey and Ashley had a good relationship
Right,
too. People forget
right,
about that.
right. And we don't really see that in this new imagination of the show. We don't really see like we could tell Jeffrey is in their lives, but we don't know the relationship with her and Jeffrey, or with
Right.
Jeffrey and Hillary, or Jeffrey and Carlton. So you know what I mean?
Yep. Use your heart, not your eyes.
You know,
But yeah, man. Anything else y'all want to say about the season? I mean,
the whole meeting, Will meeting his pops. I thought that was done wrong
really?
because yes, because I don't think I would have had. You just meeting your pops for the first time ever. You're gonna meet your pops at the house. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought they could have met at like a neutral site or whatever. Because from the jump, like when Will's dad when Luke came to the house, like Will already had an attitude, and you wanted to meet this person. You got Jeffrey basically fired because Uncle Phil told him not to look up your dad. He still went ahead and did it against Uncle Phil wishes, and he got him fired. And then like you just come with this attitude, like who are you? Like you know what I'm saying? And Lou's attitude was wrong too because he was ready to knock him out. I'm like, that was done wrong. They should have met at a neutral place, like a cafe or something, you know. And if anything, maybe you have Uncle Phil tag along, but he's like in the back, so you don't really know. But to have him come to the house and then it's like all this drama, and I'm like, nah, that in real life that would have never happened. Because I know, like for me, and I told this story before, like when I met my real dad for the first time, I was like maybe 14, 15. He didn't meet at my house. Yeah, we met at his aunt's at my aunt's house, and that was done by accident. That wasn't planned because I didn't plan to meet him. You know what I'm saying? But I was curious to see him. You know what I'm saying? But that in reality, that would have never happened. You're not gonna come to my house and try to kick somebody's ass and you don't even know your own kid.
This will. And I saw another person make a comment about
Mm.
how this will had more like a gangster edge compared
Yeah,
to
he was because in the way it played out in the OG one, he wasn't like that with his pops. He was
nigga
mad at
walking
his
around.
pops.
Nigga walking like he's selling crack.
Right. He was mad at his pops, but he wasn't ready to kick his ass. I'm like,
Yeah.
this dude was ready to kick his ass, and you wanted to know about him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't get that. I'm like Lewis said, like you wanted to meet me. It's like he could have just stayed away if that was the case. If you gonna act like that,
Hey,
you know
sometimes
what I'm saying?
it be
It
like
can't
that, man.
be it, but it can't be like you can't be curious about the parent that wasn't in your life and be like, oh well, I don't know this person, but I want to see them, and then you want to kick their ass at the same time. It's like pick a side, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I just thought that was done wrong. Like the way that they met up was done wrong, and they maybe he didn't want Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil in the room. They should have been there. They should have been there, or at least one of them should have been there. Not Aunt Viv, because Aunt Viv already, you know how she was already reckless at her mouth. Uncle Phil should have been there just to make sure nothing go down, or at least be the mediator between the two of them. But I think that meeting was done wrong.
Now I did say the real reason why Lou left. I'll
Mhm.
say that was kind of weak.
Right.
He was I think he was trying to sell some stuff. He was
Yeah.
a dreamer.
Right.
I'm just like, nah.
But I think there's something else that they're not really saying. Wait, remember when Will's mom was there and she was like, um, something to the effect that she wanted Will, she wanted Lou to be more like Uncle Phil. I think they were in business together or something, but we don't know what happened, and it just didn't work. And then whatever happened, Aunt Viv moved out to California with Uncle Phil, and they hit it big. But I think it's something else that's going on that we haven't heard about yet.
I was hoping to God it was not going to be an affair like Uncle Phil's
Yeah,
Will's biological. I was swearing
I
to
was
God.
thinking that too. I was like, but did
Yo.
Lou have an affair with Aunt Viv that we didn't know about?
Yo, I was thinking about something. Don't do this, because you know how in any black movie or they always have to have that stupid ass storyline and shit.
Right. Because how do I mean? Like I was thinking, how does Uncle Phil it was Lou's lawyer, but other than that, how do like what type of friendship did they have before? Or did they ever have a friendship at all?
Like they never,
Like how did they know? Like do they just know each other because he was his lawyer, or do they know each other because they were always like having family dinners with each other and all that and stuff like that?
yeah, they never got into that area.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So something happened that they didn't show. Maybe they need a flashback episode and show what happened and what went down that caused the rift between Aunt Viv and Will's mom.
Right.
Cause they never showed that. We only heard about it.
I feel like in my honest opinion, like if you're gonna touch on like Will's father and all that stuff, like mind you, the episodes are like 45 minutes long. Well, that
Right.
should have been a 2-part season finale.
Yes, I agree.
At
That's how it
least
should do.
a 2-part season finale,
Yeah.
because
That's how it
that way you'll get more in depth.
Mhm.
Now, like so at the end of the scene where Will and Lou were arguing and stuff like that. I could have lived. The one thing I could have changed was if I was a writer, I could have changed the fact that Will called him a bitch ass nigga. It's like,
Right.
okay,
That he was overdoing it. I'm like,
yeah,
your,
no,
Bitch ass.
your dad just came out of jail. You don't think he would slap you silly for even saying something like
yeah,
that?
It was like you a bitch ass.
right.
That
Like,
was overdoing. He was overdoing that.
right. Like once Will was like, you bitch ass nigga. I'm like,
Right.
all right, okay.
And the parents are like right there allowing this. That I'm like, yo, at that
Like,
point,
that's my baby.
at that point, let him go. You know what I'm saying? It's like because if it comes to like a fight, it's like they would be the ones to blame because y'all let that happen in your own
Right.
house. You know what I'm saying? At that point, if you got to start saying shit like that to him, it's like, oh, you could leave now.
Right.
See, it's bad that you get called a bitch. When you get called a bitch ass nigga,
Right.
And he's the one that wanted to see him. So you want to see him just to call him that to his face? That makes no
Yo,
sense.
bitch ass.
Right.
You know what I'm
See
saying?
that shit with his whole chest and shit.
Right. I'm like,
Right.
all right, nigga. All right, my nigga. This is not Boys in the Hood. Okay.
Right, exactly.
Stop.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
He was
saying? Like,
overdoing it.
it's like, come on. Like, no.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You proved your, all right, little nigga. You proved your point.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like,
I think this is power. Tyreek can fucking go for shit.
Yeah, but even but you remember even when Tariq was doing that with Go, there was like fans that wanted Ghost to kick his ass.
I want to.
They wanted Tariq to get his ass kicked by Ghost when he was doing that shit to his dad.
bitch ass.
You know, that was hilarious.
And was I the only one that also got power vibes by some of these by some of these shows and stuff like that. Like especially the Uncle Phil and Jeffrey scenes.
Yeah, like the whole they doing stuff in silence. I'm like, this is what is it, power now?
How?
Like,
And then they have those fucking endings, them fucking endings and shit like that. Like,
Mm,
oh, there you are, little nigga.
right. You know.
Fuck y'all niggas think y'all are.
that's that Godfather shit,
Yeah.
Scarface and all
Like
that shit.
they
Like,
part of some secret mafia or something. I'm like, what's going on here, Uncle Phil? You got
right,
a double life that we don't know about?
right. It's like this Jeff is like, I want to know what the hell does he
Yeah.
do? What does he do on the side? Like I
They
feel
they
like
got
go ahead.
mm. Now I was saying if he comes back, they gotta explore Jeffrey's backstory because we don't know about Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
Mm.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people say the only reason why they watch the show is because of Hillary and on Viv and shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they like the way they look.
Yeah. No, Coco Jones or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I mean, she's pretty, but she's not like a dime.
I've seen her in stuff too. I'm trying to remember like the movies and stuff I've seen her in. I've seen her in stuff before.
She
I
was
mean,
in like
she's
a lot of big
gorgeous.
stuff.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay, she's a gorgeous woman, but you know that she can't be like the main focal point for the show. You know what I mean?
But the girl that's playing the on Viv,
Yeah,
I've seen her in a couple of shit too.
I've seen her in stuff
She's a
too.
good actress.
Yeah,
So what?
she's good. I've seen her in stuff too.
Yeah. She's fine though. I ain't gonna
Yeah,
front.
yeah.
Yeah, she's straight.
Yeah, man. But other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say about the Bel-Air.
Yeah.
And shit like that. I know this week is the Power Force finale.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was last night. I thought last
No.
night was the finale, but I forgot he didn't show an episode. And
That's
the
right,
Grammys and shit.
Right.
Because I'm not even gonna hold you. The Power show, it's kind of getting kind of good, but I have my issues with it.
I still got issues with that show too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're a Power fan, Mike, and shit, but
I'm gonna be honest with you. I have never seen a single episode.
hey, like,
Right.
at one point I was not a big Power fan, but I was like, let me give this shit a shot. I was like, okay, this is good, but
Yeah.
it didn't really become great until maybe the third or fourth season.
Right.
Because those first two seasons, I'm not even gonna hold. It was kind of crap. I'm like, it was that fake ass, the glamorized crime, that fake ass kind of deal. I'm just like, damn, 50.
Is it better than Empire?
Oh yeah, hell yeah, it's way better than Empire.
I liked Empire up until I didn't see the final season of Empire. I think I want to say like the last season I saw was like season 3, but I think the first 2 seasons of Empire was the best ones.
The first and fourth season are my favorite ones.
Yeah, it's favorite. But it's definitely better than Power because like on cable it could get away with a lot more, and I think Empire could have been great for cable too. They could have got away with a lot more on there.
My issue with Empire, they try so much to be like Power, especially after the second season.
Well, that's what 50 said, but I don't see the comparison though, because they were dealing with the record business. Power wasn't like that.
Yeah, but see, there was a point when they made like Lucius like a heavy gangster.
Right, but his
there was
backstory,
some power S element.
Yeah, his backstory was like that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But I thought they were
characters.
Two different shows. You know what I'm saying? You know.
And I respect that opinion. Trust me.
And that's great because when was the last time we could say we had this much great black content on TV? We used to get trash. Malcolm and Eddie, that was not a good show. You know what I'm saying? Homeboys from Outer Space, like, come on.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
One
on one. You know what I mean? Like, there was a point when we was getting trash on network TV from our own people, and now we got a good stuff to talk about like this. So
exactly.
You know.
I might also get into that Making Good Harlem show, but I heard some.
I haven't seen that yet. Is it good? I heard it's good.
I heard some good things. I heard some bad things, but I want to watch it for myself.
Yeah. I've been binge watching Yellowstone, so I'm in a Yellowstone mood right now.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's like a West. It reminded me of like Dynasty. It's like Dynasty meets the Montana.
I still yet to see Dynasty. I know what Dynasty is.
The OG Dynasty from the 80s. Yeah,
Man,
I'm Team Dallas, man. Fuck
My
Dynasty.
my mom was heavily into Dynasty. That's the only way I know about those shows.
Team
see that,
Dallas, man. Fuck
Yeah.
Dynasty.
Dallas, like I've seen probably a few episodes. It was pretty dope, but I haven't
Yeah.
seen like the whole series.
hmm
I would stick to
They
everything up to 8 seasons if I were you.
they
Okay,
had like one of the biggest like season premieres when like or season finales with Who Shot JR. That was like I think like 8 million people saw it. Watch that.
right.
Unbelievable.
That was
You know.
iconic.
Yeah.
Like JR, this is the worst thing he's ever done. I'm like,
Right.
this is really the worst thing he's ever done. Like, really? This is
You
really the
know.
worst thing this nigga ever done. Like,
It was crazy, man. They made like t-shirts and mugs out of that shit.
that
You
made Larry
know.
Hagman a star and shit, man.
Yeah.
True.
Larry Hagman had to like renegotiate his contract and shit.
Right.
He was about to leave the show right after that, believe it or not.
It was crazy.
And I finally finished my CDs for now.
Dope.
God forbid this shit better not fall.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about, the whole Bel-Air shit.
Yeah.
Cause I'm about to get me something to eat before I go to bed.
Yeah.
But yeah, this has been fun as fuck. Appreciate this night as usual.
Yeah,
Down.
sure.
Try
Yeah.
appreciate this as usual too.
Yeah.
I might as well just drop this probably like 2 in the morning and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Cause
Right.
if
It's
I
already over.
yeah, just get it over with.
Yeah.
Fuck it. It's not like I'm going to go to sleep anytime soon. It's just because I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to go to sleep.
Right.
Fuck
Right.
it.
Right.
But other than that, this has been fun as fuck, low key.
Yes.
Stay tuned next week. We're going to talk about the power force. That's going to be pretty interesting review.
Are you gonna be joining us for the Outsiders review too, Reg?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I've seen the movie a while back ago, but I want to rewatch it too.
Okay.
Yeah, man. That's just let me know what time that is, because I definitely want to make sure I watch the movie in time.
Yeah, it'll definitely be next Sunday around whenever you get through with with your live streaming, I'll do it after.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I made it 9 o'clock. That way I can have some time to watch it and get my shit together. So
Okay.
more than likely next week we're gonna do this at 9 o'clock, because I kind of like these earlier streams, low key and shit like that. Because motherfuckers want to see me early, but the motherfuckers that want to see me early don't show up for the videos and shit.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
Remind you, we have a 2 o'clock review Thursday and shit too.
We
Oh,
do?
Yeah, when we talk, Ashley's gonna join for the Usher. Look, I think I texted
Oh, 2 p.m.
Yeah, 2 p.m.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Because
Okay.
the DJ Quick Breakdown is gonna be later on that night too.
Okay. That'll be
Yeah.
at the regular time, 11.
Breakdowns is gonna be regular time. Yep. Everything is
Okay.
pretty much regular time except for that Usher video and stuff like that. Which, like, I just want to get that shit over with.
Right.
Because, yeah. But other than that, I hope y'all have a good night. We drop this like 2 in the morning.
All right.
Peace.
Peace, Mike.
Peace, guys.
Subscribe, like.